This is the pilot episode, the initial
Yes.
episode. My name is Jason Dukes, but what I am excited about is my friend who's with me in this. We're partners in this, and that is
Yeah, man.
Derrick
What's up? What's
DeLain.
up? Derrick DeLain here. Man, excited to kick this thing off. Is I think we've been thinking about this for a little bit now, and to finally begin to put some legs on it, some feet on it. Man, I'm excited. I'm excited. This is gonna be good.
Me too. And so some of you may be going, okay, what is this? Right? So we're going to tell you a little bit more about who we are in just a minute.
Yeah.
But let me just tell you up front, this is simply intended to be a conversation that we hope will challenge the current system, will
Hmm.
challenge the church, will challenge community leaders, will challenge marketplace leaders, and
Yeah.
really lean into both privilege as well as entitlement. Like lean into both sides, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
say, hey, neither one of these are working for us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
And I'm
go
into
ahead.
yeah, I was about to say, and the fact that we get a chance to do that, man, I love that as we've been thinking about this, like you and I are going to be talking about this, but we're going to be bringing in other people to be helping us in these conversations,
That's right.
leaders in our country who've been kind of stepping ahead already, been doing this,
That's right.
intentionally in their ministries and their spheres, and so, man, it's a lot of things that we've been thinking through, praying through. And so, man, it's going to be good to have those guys as well.
And I want to hit on what you just said, man. I think you and I both are hoping that this is not just one particular domain of our culture.
Yeah.
It's not just church or just a community or city leader or government or education or just one domain.
Hmm.
But it's all domains. It's the creatives and it's the technology. And we look at
Yes.
every facet of who we are together as culture.
Yeah.
And we get to interview people that are saying, man, how do we change the game? How do we flip the script here? And how do we get it to where there's shared ownership opportunity
Yeah.
and not just that everything else is owned already and oh, now you're invited to the table? Because
Yeah.
that's the reality of American culture when it comes to the black-white relationship. And so
Hmm.
we gotta lean into that and
Yeah.
figure out, well, how do we imagine a new future
Yeah.
together?
Yeah. And I think imagining that new future, if we're honest, we're trying to give a picture or trying to see, on earth, right, as it is in heaven, right?
That's
This
right.
this new reality of what's to come anyway. Why don't we begin to cultivate that now? And so, man, that's the drive here in this reconciliation conversation. It's like, man, what does it look like to reconcile now for what's to come? And again, just excited to jump into it.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's important up front to touch on something you just said, and that is we want to admit up front that we are very aware of the long and arduous but beautiful journey ahead.
Yeah.
That if
Yeah.
that if we're serious about reconciliation, this isn't just a breaking news concept for a few days. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is long term. And I do think we're at a change moment. I mean, I think the moments of these last few days, the
Oh yeah.
moments really even of the last 70 days,
Yeah.
when you look at the calendar, in American history and in American culture, they're very difficult and dark days.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a change moment for sure.
We are. And to be honest, I think as we process that, number one, God in his sovereignty, allowing us to begin to think through this, really not knowing, obviously all the stuff is coming down, but the fact
That's
that
right.
it's now coming down, we're in it. And there are a lot of people who are like, all right, like something's up. Something's like, I've heard about it. I've seen people tweet about it. Like, they're frustrated. Why? Right. They're asking all these
That's right.
questions. And so to be able to then be able to step into this space, like, well, all right, let's see if we can answer that question. Why? Let's point to a hope, number one. But then two, like, as we're talking about that why and pointing to that hope, again, begin to cultivate, all right, what can I do to help be a part of that change, to see that change come about, right? This is a both corporate and an individual type change that needs to
Absolutely.
happen, and having people begin to dig into that. I think
Ab-
is necessary.
Absolutely. I agree, man. I need to look it up to remember who it was. So forgive me because I'm drawing a blank on who said this specifically, but
Hmm.
but it's common teaching if you hear anyone who talks about cultural reconciliation,
Hmm.
that it has to happen, like you just said, on an interpersonal level as well as an institutional level.
Hmm.
And that's not original to us. Again,
No.
I've heard that in things that when you hear people talk about this,
Yeah, we're not
but
smart enough for original, bro.
yeah, but yeah, we're just highlighting other stuff. But man, I'm hopeful, and that's really what we want to say in this pilot episode is not just what this is, but why. Why are we doing this, man? Like
Yeah,
what would even drive you, to say, yo, let's do this together?
yeah, yeah.
Why would we do that?
Well, I think really, I mean, again, we have to be honest about what's going on in our society right now, right? Like, as we think about it, as we see these things, we need to be willing to step in these conversations to expose the brokenness, to expose the hate that we
Yep.
see, but not to just expose it in a way to just put it on blast. But then how do we counter that with love, right? We want to encourage love in the midst of this, and then finally, I think it gives us an opportunity to equip again, not just ourselves, but our other brothers and sisters who are listening in on this, equipping them for reconciliation. What does it look like for me to do this? And in order to do that, we need to be unified, right?
That's
We
right.
we need to be unified. We know the end game, right? Revelation 5, Revelation 7. We know that every tribe and tongue and nation is going to be around the throne room of God, and praise God for that. But
That's
how do
right.
we get to that point? How do we make sure that red, brown, yellow, black, and white, if they are precious in the sight of God, how do we get it to the point where they are precious in our eyes as well? And I think
That's right.
this is part of the reason why we want to see this happen, why we want to do this, because again, people are starting to see it. They want to engage with it, but they need the opportunities and the resources, if you will, to be equipped, to have the tools in the tool belt to see this thing come through.
That's right. That's right, man. And man, and I mean, somebody, not just one person, but multiple people
Hmm.
dying is what has ignited the recent fire.
Yeah.
But man, we want to help people know, we want to help everyone know that they're worth dying for.
Mm.
That
Mm.
that to God they were worth dying for.
Yeah.
And we want to help people see other people like that. Like
Yeah.
if you say you are in the light
Hmm.
as Jesus followers say,
Hmm.
then you need to not just say you're in the light. The
Yeah.
scriptures tell us you need to actually walk like you are. And
Yeah.
man, walking in that includes seeing every single human as though they are worth dying for.
Man, that's
And
good.
and I
That's
think
good.
that's a lot of it, man. Like that's what I think if we can do, like what you said, if we can expose that hate and we can encourage that love and equip for reconciliation
Hmm.
and emphasize the unity that we need, I think we could see that. And that's
Man.
my hope. I think that's our purpose in this together.
Yeah, yeah. Someone, just to piggyback off of what you said, someone told me a long time ago, in thinking about reconciliation and healthy biblical justice, he said, if the Word of God says that God doesn't desire for anyone to perish, why do we?
Mm,
Why do we? And man, that to this day, I mean, I heard that when I was what, 12, 13, and to this day, it's like, all right, like this is a biblical issue
that's
that
right.
we need to speak to. So yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, sprinkle that little truth on there because that's real. That's real. We need to think about that.
It is real. I mean, that's impactful of our everyday. That's
Yeah,
not just a nice thing to hear in a sermon. Like that's
yeah,
impactful of our everyday.
yeah. So let me ask
Well,
you this then, Jason. Because we're trying to do this, Dukes, man, what do you hope that we're going to accomplish in this work, right? Because again, you've got two guys who they have hopes. We're praying, we're asking God to move in this. But at the same time, we're not just doing this for kicks and giggles.
that's right.
What do you hope to see accomplished in this?
Well, man, I'll state it plain because I wrote it down. I mean,
Awesome.
I,
Listen.
and I say it because I think we want to be clear. I mean,
Hmm.
here's to me what the desired outcomes are. The first one is I just want to see people who aren't engaged in this conversation get engaged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see people who have a learning posture, right? Like,
Hmm.
don't come to this conversation thinking, "Oh, I know." No, you don't know.
Say that.
You don't know. I don't know, right? And I've
Hmm.
had more experience in the Black community than a lot of white leaders have, and
Hmm.
in my background, and then in case somebody's blind, you're Black, so
Hello.
like we both we both bring some unique perspectives to this. But man,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
right? I don't know what it feels like to be Black.
Yeah.
And it's just ignorant for
Hmm.
people to pretend otherwise. And so whether you're white or Black, I
Hmm.
want us to seek to have a better understanding of each other. And
That's good.
and 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 so, man, if we can come and learn from each other and honor each other and get engaged in this conversation, that's a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if that's even if that step is the only step someone takes,
Yeah.
that's a good first step.
That's a great first step. That's a great first step. I don't want it to end there though. I do. I
No
want
way.
to, yeah, I want to see that learning posture. But I think, just taking a bunch of knowledge and doing nothing with it, it's not helpful. What would you say for those who like, all right, cool. I'm coming in as a learner. I want to see these things happen. What would you say else that you would want to see accomplished through that then?
Well, man, the other thing I would say is whatever the name of your town is,
Mm,
write down on a sheet of paper. Let's say your town is Nashville,
yeah.
right? For example, where you will be and
Yes.
where we are.
In Jesus' name.
Um, that's right. Let's say I would challenge leaders, write down on a sheet of paper, in Nashville as it is in heaven.
That's good.
Write down on a sheet of paper whatever your local community is,
Hmm.
in my neighborhood as it is in heaven.
Mm,
And then go cultivate for that for the next 5 to 10 years, because that's what it's going to take.
so it's going to take.
It's going to take local civility.
Hmm.
It's going to take local civil conversations. And so that's another desired outcome of this, is that it isn't just about building listenership. I don't think either you or I are worried about that.
Nah.
But in the communities where people are paying attention and engaging in this conversation, let's help
Hmm.
them have those civil conversations. That's a desired outcome. And
That's good.
to where people can get together and they can become united together around seeing
Mm,
in their neighborhood as it is in heaven.
that's good. I love that. I love that. And so as they're being united together, again, there's they want to see their cities changed and transform, and as learners now, right? But what would you say would be the thing, like as they're stepping in and writing down, my city as it is in heaven? There's another step. There's more to that. What would you say that is? Speak to that.
Yeah, the next one, as buzzword as this sounds, man, it's they've got to really create a unity and a network that says we love this neighborhood and this city.
Mm,
And that's our hope, man. Like a community together network is basically
hmm.
what I would love to be a third outcome of this. And
Yeah.
where we really see, because those networked unified leaders are engaged together, that
Hmm.
you don't just begin to see the kind of friendly relational change that we're hoping for,
Yeah.
but eventually you begin to see the kind of systemic change that would be needed
That's good.
for the opportunity to really be different
Yeah.
than it is currently.
I love that. I love that. And with those community groups, then it's I would surmise that we're hoping that it's those aren't just all homogenous groups, right?
That's right.
Like we're trying to have different people from all ethnic backgrounds sitting together, doing these things, learning together, and challenging each other as well in the midst of
Yep.
this, as
Yep.
we're seeking to seek change in our city. But there's one more. What else would you say as we're hoping to accomplish in the midst of this?
Man, that fourth outcome, this is the one that I think will be the evidence of change.
Hmm.
I'm going to get, so you and I are Jesus followers, and that will come up at times as we walk through this. And so if you're listening and you're not a Jesus follower, we're not trying to preach to you, nor are we trying to, well, I guess in some ways we are, for the
Some
sake of the
ways we are.
change,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we're not trying to be preachy to you or trying to just proselytize. That's not the point. We want to see you engage with the truth, and we happen to think that his name is Jesus. I will say this from a Jesus follower perspective. Luke 7 says that Jesus, the Son of Man, came eating and drinking, and they called him a glutton and a drunkard. And for that to even be mentioned, because the Bible's like the Sports Center of God, bro. Like for that, it's the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not the unabridged version.
Yeah.
So for that to even be mentioned indicates that Jesus, the Son of Man, valued meals together with the people that he loved.
Yeah, that's good. That's
And
good.
I think the evidence of change will be lots of time around a table. And I'm not talking about just the table at the local restaurant, but in homes.
Yeah.
The evidence that we are moving toward the kind of reconciliation that we hope to see will be that day when we begin to have it more of a norm rather than an exception.
Yeah.
That people of different tribes and backgrounds are sharing meals together.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to give a vulnerable story that I may say it the wrong way or and you rebuke me if I do.
I will, my friend.
But I grew up where I grew up in inner city New Orleans. I remember growing up not even thinking about it when I would drink a drink after my black friend, or when I would share, like he had drunk a drink and then handed it to me and I took a drink, and like I didn't think about it, like we were just together. But I went off to college, and I love where I went to college, so it's not a statement about where I went to college, but I went off to college and into the West Tennessee area from there. And I remember realizing for the first time that what I grew up with was not the norm. And I'm not saying we all have to start drinking after each other in our drinks, like especially with the COVID stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say COVID-19 got us. Rona got us tripping. I ain't sipping on nobody's stuff.
That's right. That's right. He got us tripping. Ain't sipping. But what I'm saying is, when we start acting more like family together like that, like where we are brothers and sisters, and it's not abnormal for us to engage with each other around meals, around food, and the level and depth of conversation where we truly share our stories and feel each other's stories together. That's when I think we'll begin to see the sprouting of a new future together, a new American story and a new American dream.
That's good, man. That's good. That's good. So I'm excited that we get a chance to do this. Obviously, there's a lot of outlets and things where people are posting stuff and things like that. But man, we're posting our stuff specifically on YouTube. Tell everyone where they can find us.
Yeah, so we're going to be at the YouTube channel No More Night Media. So No More Night Media is the name of it, and so you can subscribe to that if you want to be looking for these as they come out. We're going to try to do one a week. With our schedules, obviously that might get affected every now and then, but we're going to do our best to be consistent and get that out each week, and you'll see that trend as we start following this pilot episode. But that's a place. And then on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, if you look for at the Recon Convo, so TheReconConvo, like the abbreviated way to say conversation. So at the Recon Convo, I had to shorten it because reconciliation and something else is longer than 15 characters, right?
Yeah,
That's what
we gotta chill on it.
So I had to shorten it, but all that to say, it's the same though across all three mediums. So if you're looking for us on social media, you can find us at the Recon Convo, and then on the YouTube channel, No More Night Media.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited, man. I think again, just so people people know who we are. We are pastors. We are have been serving the church for a number of years. I'm on my way. I'm currently in North Carolina, moving to Nashville, Tennessee, to start a new church, where obviously the gospel is going to be presented, who Jesus is, what Jesus has done for us, and how we can find new life in Him. Um,
Hmm.
but a derivative of that trueness, the truthfulness of the gospel, is a reconciled body, a
That's
reconciled
right.
people, and that's what we're going to be pursuing with this new church start called Proclamation Church that we're going to be a part of. So that's who I am, and I'm excited to get out there and be a part of the community in Nashville. My boy Jason is already there in Nashville. You're serving at a church there as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
How long you been out there?
We've been here 5 years.
Okay. Okay. And
Yep.
so, yeah, well, man, we're, like I said, excited to get out there and jump in, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I think we're both going to, after having conversations like this, while at the same time serving in our spheres, man, I'm going to have a grayer beard. Your beard is going to be even grayer as well.
That's right.
Uh,
That's right.
but it's going to be a good work. It's going to be a good work.
Well, at least I don't have hair to lose. I mean, that's the winning part of.
Well, I guess I'm gonna catch up with you. This thing thin enough there, boy. So I'll catch up with you.
Well, man, thank you for hopping on with me today, and I'm pumped that we get to do this together,
Yeah,
and we'll be hopping on together a lot. And
yeah, man.
like we said earlier, we're going to be bringing people in to interview, to talk about this topic, and to
Yeah,
spur conversation on. It's
yeah,
going to be messy. It's not going to be polished. It's not going to be clean all the time.
yep,
It's going to ruffle feathers.
yep.
It's going to say things that we're not going to appreciate. But all we ask is that each of us take that learning attitude and say, look, let's better understand each other. Let's better learn this. And if you're a Jesus follower, let me tell you straight up why this matters. The New Testament tells us, man, we are all about the ministry of reconciliation.
Yes,
It's the best picture of the gospel embodied.
love it,
And so,
love it,
and so if we can't go there, man, then I don't know what gospel you're believing.
man.
and
That's
and
good.
so that's what we've got to get serious about, and I hope that that's what this will spur on, and I look forward to much of it, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate it, Jason. I'm praying that for us, bro. It's gonna be it.
I love it, man. Well, thank you for joining me today, and be looking for more of it. The No More Night Media on YouTube, and at the Recon Convo. And then our website, reconciliationconversation.com, will launch soon. It's not up yet, but it'll launch soon. And so thanks for joining us today. Look forward to you joining us in on our very first official episode here in the next week or two.
Sounds good. Peace out.